and welcome to the fourth module of Solar-Powered Water Systems, an overview of principles and practice. We hope you have found the first three modules of this course to be informative and engaging. We still have a great deal of subject matter to cover in this course. This week, we'll be tackling a broad topic, the enabling environment for solar-powered water systems. My name is Laura Lambert, and I will be joining you in this week's discussion forum. I am the Director of Community Development at Water Mission, where I serve in a global advisory role covering on service delivery models, behavior change communication, and monitoring and evaluation. In the discussion forum this week, you'll be hearing from myself as well as Andrew Armstrong. You will also be hearing from two colleagues at the International Water Management Institute. Aditi Mukherjee is based in Delhi, India, and Petra Schmitter is based in Yangon, Myanmar. Let's hear a brief greeting from Aditi and Petra.
Hi, my name is Dr. Aditi Mukherjee, and I'm the principal researcher at the International Water Management Institute. I'm based at the International Water Management Institute's New Delhi office. I am the moderator for Module 4, which is on enabling environment for solar-powered water systems. My own specialization as a social scientist is on water, energy, food nexus issues, and currently I am managing a multi-country, multi-year project on solar irrigation pumps in South Asia.
I'm Petra Schmitter, and I'm the research group leader for agricultural water management at the International Water Management Institute. Our research group works a lot around solar innovations for irrigation and multi-purpose use, especially targeting smallholder farmers in developing countries. We also look at identifying where those solutions are scalable, what is the enabling environment, and what are some of the barriers that might prevent smallholder farmers from accessing or benefiting from the solar solutions. I hope you will enjoy this module put together by various colleagues, and I look forward to interacting with you in this platform.
Let's review where we are in the course schedule. We are now in the fourth out of 6 modules. The content in this module, the enabling environment for solar-powered water systems, will be available on the CapNet platform until Sunday, the 20th of October. You will also notice that a new written assignment has been posted this week and is due on October 27. This module explores the factors beyond technical design and installation that influence sustainable service delivery with solar-powered water systems. We will introduce you to conceptual frameworks and practical recommendations which can be utilized to inform programming that utilizes solar pumping solutions in your own professional context. If you fully engage in this module, by the end, you'll be able to explain how specific elements of the enabling environment for rural water supply, particularly policies and institutional arrangements, influence sustainability and impact of solar-powered water systems. You will also be able to evaluate the gaps in the enabling environment for solar-powered water systems within your professional operating context. Now let's hear a bit more about the content of this module from Aditi.
We talk about the importance of the enabling environment and its role in promotion of solar-powered water systems. Let's start with this particular diagram from UNICEF, which talks about the 3 layers of enabling factors. The first is the structural factors, the overall political economy, the geography, the demography. Then the next layer of factors are institutional factors, such as is there an emphasis on decentralization? Are there good rules and regulations about public finance? Are there anti-corruption means and provisions? And are there social norms that supports entrepreneurship, for example? In this module, what we are going to pay the most attention on is the issue of governance function in the entire sector, both the wash sector as well as, say, in other water-related sectors such as agricultural water management, where I come from. In this, we are particularly interested in what are the sector-wide policies and strategies, what kind of institutional arrangements there are. For example, how do different departments and sub-departments within the sector interact with each other? What kind of financing is available? That's a very important question when it comes to solar powered water systems, because we know that even though the costs have come down quite a bit, the capital cost of renewable energy is still higher than many of the conventional sources of energy, and therefore finance becomes important. We would be also talking a little bit about the importance of capacity building and development, given that solar powered water systems are still relatively new in many parts of the world and there is a lack of familiarity about this technology. National monetary and trade policies can either support or hinder development of local markets for solar powered water system products and thus influence availability of quality equipments and spare parts. For example, in Bangladesh and in much of South Asia, in India, in Nepal, all these countries provide duty exemption for import of solar panels, and that considerably reduces the price of the solar panels. Another example is in Mauritania, where a national supply agreement is established with solar powered water system product manufacturers, and decentralized supply chains are supported by the government. Solar powered irrigation systems or solar powered drinking water systems, especially if they are tapping groundwater, cannot be seen as an isolated energy systems alone. There is a deep link between these pumping systems and long term groundwater sustainability, and it is important that we keep in mind the trade offs and synergies between the energy use and the groundwater sustainability. For example, many people argue that solar pumps, while lowering emissions, could lead to over extraction of groundwater resources. For this, we need data and analysis to incorporate such environmental implications, and additional monitoring is required, for example, on climate variability, groundwater recharge rates, and impacts from upscaling at a landscape level. Combining the solar pump suitability maps with soil and water quality information would enable an assessment of the overall environmental sustainability of solar pump based irrigation. The environmental impact of solar pump use is likely to be influenced by institutions, regulations, and policies, and these aspects also needs to be understood. In this context, an example of an ongoing experiment that my colleagues at EMI are doing is connecting some of these irrigation pumps back to the grid, which means that farmers have an option of either pumping water and irrigate their fields, or instead of pumping water to irrigate their fields, they can use the solar panels to produce electricity and sell that electricity back to the grid. And we need to evaluate these interventions very, very carefully in order to see the overall impact on the groundwater sustainability issues. Appropriate and functional service delivery models, including direct support arrangements to community based service providers and coordination mechanisms among public and private sector actors, must be in place for the solar powered water systems to provide long lasting benefits. For example, service delivery models should have inbuilt financial mechanisms and tariff collection modalities for these systems to operate beyond the installation period. A good example is in Bangladesh, where the government implementing agency, provides grants and subsidies to a private entrepreneur or an NGO, who then sell water to the rural farmers and charge a fee that helps them repay the loan, and this ensures the continuity of the systems beyond the government support period. Another example is in Mauritania, where all these solar powered water systems and assets are owned by the government and operated by government employed operators, and all the tariff revenues are collected and delivered to government, who pay salaries and procure replacement parts. Please also refer to the video from Helvetas Madagascar, which explains this modality. It is critical to invest adequately in systems for training and capacity building, and these trainings and capacity building have to be specifically tailored to both the technical requirements of the solar powered water system but also to the socio-cultural background in the area. For example, in the coming decade, it is expected that there would be hundreds and thousands of solar pumps all over the world, and this would require a whole new cadre of mechanics who can repair these pumps. Just as there are systems in South Asia, for example, where the moment a diesel pump breaks down, there is always someone in the village who knows how to fix that pump. We would be requiring a similar system where there would be readily available mechanics to repair these solar pumps, for instance. Similarly, there is some amount of training and capacity building needed even among the officials from the energy sector, from the water and food sector, for them to understand the interlinkages between the three sectors. For example, what we do with a solar pump in terms of pumping groundwater affects groundwater, and what we do with the water in terms of growing crop then in turn affects food security. So these two types of training, that of rural mechanics as well as of officials who are in charge of policy implementation, is very, very important. And obviously, these would require adequate budgeting and financing to conduct these trainings. For such a broad topic as we are covering in this module, we needed to include several resources in this week's compulsory references. These include 5 readings and 2 videos. You should anticipate needing 2.5 to 3 hours to work through these references. The first video we are asking you to watch was developed to communicate how various technical, financial, social, environmental, and institutional aspects and perspectives influence the applicability of technologies. The video introduces a tool called Technology Applicability Framework that you may find useful. We have asked you to read 2 chapters of the 2016 UNICEF publication titled Strengthening the Enabling Environment for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene. Chapters 3 and 4 on pages 11 through 20 provide a useful framework and vocabulary for us as we think about the enabling environment for solar-powered water systems throughout the module. Next, we have highlighted a section of the 2016 UNICEF Global Evaluation of Solar-Powered Water Systems that you read in Module 2. This particular section on pages 21 through 22 describes the findings of the evaluation that relate to the enabling environment. We also require you to read a publication from 2012 titled Policy Recommendations to Improve the Sustainability of Rural Water Supply Systems based on the experience with conventional and photovoltaic pumping systems. Although this document is a bit dated, it provides a good summary of experience and recommendations for strengthening the enabling environment for solar-powered water systems. We have also included 2 resources that will help to educate you on the options for and implications of service delivery and management models that can be utilized to support solar-powered water systems. I believe you will find the handbook titled Management Models for Piped Water Supply Services, a decision-making resource for rural and small-town context, published by WaterAid and Agua Consult in 2018, to be a very comprehensive and useful reference, and encourage you to explore some of the examples listed in the document. We also included a short video from Helvetas, Madagascar that describes an example of privately operated solar-powered water systems. Lastly, we have included a section of course manual from the Africa Groundwater Network on groundwater regulation, licensing, allocation, and institutions. For those of you who do not have significant experience with groundwater, and perhaps even for those of you who do, this reading provides a useful overview of relevant institutional structures and considerations as we consider the implications of groundwater governance in solar-powered water systems.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this orientation video. As always, if you have any further questions about the online course platform or any aspect of the course, please email the course coordinator at the email address listed on the screen. I'm looking forward to a rich discussion in this week's discussion forum.